Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the second Sunday now. Sunny Days Media Football Show. We're rocking, we're rolling. Lions are on at 1, Jets are on at 1, Jaguars are on at 1, Giants are on at 1. A lot of good games on the slate today. Some news and notes. But first, boys, how are we doing? How are we feeling? Better than Tua, I hope.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
I got an asshole of the week, so I'm going to save something.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Kind of a
Okay.
scorching hot take, but we'll get there later.
Tua, he wants to play still, so more power to him. I'd probably do the same thing. I love football. If I could play at the NFL level, I'd probably want to play as long as I can. It is a tough decision, but you know what, man? I'm sick of people telling him what and what he can't do. You know, like we're not him.
I think if
He's
you're the
worked his whole
NFL,
life.
you've got to step in. You got to pull him.
The NFL should step in, but again, it's
It's his life. Listen, I agree.
His
It's
life.
his life, 1,000%. But at the same rate, we need to preserve this game at the youth level. One of the worst things that we're doing is the flag football leagues. And listen, anything that's getting kids to go outside and play is a good thing. Like, there's nothing wrong with flag football, right? And that's fine for the skill positions and all that. Like, it's a nice gym class version of football, and I'm totally down with it. But what the last thing we need is parents turning on Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, seeing that and saying, my kid's not playing. And that's genuinely what's happening throughout the country. And that's a scary thing. I mean, I don't want to spend too much time on it today, but for the sake of the league, I don't know. If I were Goodell, I'd say, listen, we're going to pay that contract out. You could be an ambassador to the game. You can't play this anymore.
Now, let me ask you this, though. Do you think a guardian cap would have made a difference?
I don't think so. Maybe.
I don't
But,
know
like-
if there's any studies that have proven that they work.
Yeah.
Actually, I remember when Shazier when he had his injury, they made they ran it through like some physics tests, and they said the helmet had to be like 3 feet wide to have prevented.
Christ.
So if you get hit and you get hit the wrong way, it's what you kind of sign up for. So
It's a dangerous game. It's
Yeah,
a dangerous
How it
game.
goes. Yeah.
nobody's
Great
looking
sport.
for it, but
No.
nobody's rooting for it. You want to see, obviously everyone's rooting for, big hits and, get guys, banged
Clean
up
hits,
and make guys
body
think
shots.
twice. Yeah, make guys think twice.
Right.
About going, down the middle of the field or hitting that hole or, make that quarterback's clock a little bit quicker. That's the whole point of, hitting guys hard and bringing them to the ground. And, you can't even land on the quarterback anymore. So obviously, in real time, it's hard to dictate what you aren't going to do in the NFL as a player. So you just have to roll with the punches at this point. But
Little shout out to Will Hickey. Promise you, young Finn will be putting on the pads ASAP. That's good. Damn straight. My wife's got a bun in the oven. Boy or girl, you want to suit up and play football? By God, I hope you do. I don't want to raise a kid that plays soccer. I really don't.
don't let them play.
Raise a commie.
Yeah, no commies in this house. All right, we got a lot of games on the slate today.
Yeah, we do.
What do you guys want to open with? You guys want to open with New York teams? We want to open with Lions Bucks. You want to talk about the Jags here, Facino playing the Browns. They're at home. They're at Trevor Banks Stadium.
I say we roll Jags, Jets, Lions in
Okay.
that order.
All right, start out with the Jags. Browns are coming to Jacksonville. They are
3.5 point favorites is what
3.5 on what book?
Yeah.
What do you have? FanDuel?
FanDuel.
Okay. 3.5. So the money line, I have +3 here, money line at 140. So I got to assume money line FanDuel is probably 145, 150. I feel pretty good here, Facino. Jags, Cleveland.
I love
plays,
this match. I love this matchup for the Jaguars. Love it.
I agree. Cleveland plays tight fucking defense, but Deshaun Watson sucks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think that I think that the Browns have a lot going on right now. I think that if that video that they say they have on Deshaun Watson, if it comes out that they're going to be having to make some changes, which they probably should do performance-wise anyway, but I'm not. Look, I've still seen Deshaun Watson have some great, amazing football games. I do think that there's something there, but I do think that there's also a lot going on in his life where he might not be able to prepare for these games appropriately. And the Jaguars also renamed the stadium Trevor Bank Field today. So it's imperative that Trevor Lawrence has a good game or else he will be getting made fun of for the next 6 days.
this is
And,
one of those things with the renaming of the stadium that's like, Jesus Christ. Like, why? Like,
It's
Like it's like a Mets thing, right? Where it's like we do some promotional thing. Like, what the fuck are you doing? We're just gonna get made fun of for this. You know, I mean, unless Trevor balls out, like you just said, throws 4 touchdowns and lights it up. But I would hate this as a Jaguar.
So you know what I don't love about the Jaguars this year that I feel like is kind of uncharacteristic for them? I feel like Lawrence doesn't have any weapons. And I feel like the past 5 or so years, the Jaguars have had steadily decent wide receivers. You know, not Tyreek Hill or anything of that caliber, but I feel like they've always had three guys who are going to catch the ball. You know, like with DJ Chark, drawing a blank on other guys, but there
Allen
are
Robinson. They've had. I don't know when was the last time he was a Jaguar, Pacino.
Well, you know what it is? They gave Trevor Lawrence mediocrity in the receiving core over the last few years, and then this year they completely scrapped it. Christian Kirk is fine. Christian Kirk has great chemistry with Trevor Lawrence. They're friends. They hang out. They stayed after practice together consistently, but they realize that Trevor Lawrence can't hit these smaller receivers. The guy's 6'5". You know, Trevor Lawrence releasing the ball, you know, 1.5 feet higher than some other quarterbacks in the league. You know, Kyler Murray, Aaron Rodgers, just guys that are just not the same size. It's harder for him to keep the ball down when he's throwing over the middle of the field and putting, you know, Mostert on it. So I think that they went out, they got Gabe Davis, who's okay, but I think Brian Thomas is the X factor. And as the season progresses, I think the receiving core could be a lot better. I don't know it's hard to just assume what they're going to be today, but over the course of the year, they should be playing a lot better than what they have been. So, and it's imperative for Trevor Lawrence. I think he's a stud. I think that a lot of people I think he's been unfairly criticized. Obviously, he was a first-round pick, but that was years ago now. Like, what are you doing now? Who are you? And, you know, all the metrics, all the advanced metrics and, you know, rewatching the games, like he makes the right decisions. He has great touch on the ball. Maybe a play or two he doesn't play, you know, he fumbles or whatever. But you know what? Everybody does. So I think that the good that he brings massively outweighs the bad. And with this receiving core, they may not be, you know, household names, but over the course of the year, if they start winning, they're gonna be the reason for it. So today is a big test because the Browns have a decent secondary. You know, Ward and Emerson are great. So, you know, can they beat those players?
I feel like this is a game. If the Jaguars could put up 20 points, they'll win. Like, because I just don't see the Cleveland Browns unless they pick off Trevor Lawrence 3 or 4 times. Like, I just don't see them, and knock on wood, actually. But, like, I just don't see a way where this Cleveland offense finds a way to score more than 2 touchdowns today. Like, I just don't. They are lost with Deshaun Watson under center. They've got a tremendous line. They've got a great run game, and they've got weapons. I mean, it's literally, when you're watching the Cleveland Browns, to me, it is a worse version of the 2009 Jets. Honestly, kind of reminds me of like the 2018 Bears. They have everything but the quarterback. And it's so frustrating. I mean, if you're a Browns fan, how the fuck do you feel watching Baker Mayfield throw touchdown after touchdown after touchdown and be very happy down in Tampa Bay?
You're
right?
happy
In a place,
for him.
and I'm so
warmer
I'm so
weather.
Happy. Absolutely, I'm happy for the guy. But like, this was a guy that was brought here to rejuvenate the Cleveland franchise, and they just let him go. They just let him go. And their quote that will stick with me the rest of my life. Their quote was not to the media, just leaked out to the media, but their quote was, "We wanted an adult in the room." You wanted an adult in the room so bad that you brought in a guy with 22, 25 allegations against him. And listen, they could be true, they could be false. Clearly, he was doing something he shouldn't have been doing over and over and over and over again. I mean, without getting too deep into the weeds here with the Deshaun Watson shit, like, the guy was clearly doing something a leader, a good human being doesn't do, right? And you go and you not only bring that guy in, you mortgage your future, giving away 3 first-round picks, and then you give him a fully guaranteed contract of $230-something million. And he can't even, forget throw touchdowns, he can't even limit his turnovers. There's nothing right now. There is nothing Deshaun Watson could do right. And to me, he's the worst quarterback in the NFL. And that's ridiculous. That is a ridiculous fall from grace. You want to talk about personality. You want to talk about off the field. You want to talk about him being a scumbag. All of those things, I don't know. All I know is what I could see on the TV, and that guy's a fucking liability. It's time to put in Jameis Winston. If you're the Cleveland Browns and you're down 14 and a half, that's it. That's it. Pull him. Done.
Yeah.
See you later. I just, if I'm a Browns fan, I don't know. I'd be fuming. I'm fuming watching them. Because this is a very good team the Cleveland Browns have. A very good team. This is a team that should compete with the fucking Baltimore Ravens to win this division and be a number 1, number 2 seed in the AFC. And they're not going to because they've got an asshole that doesn't care anymore taking snaps every play. And you know he's only out there because the egg is on their face. They're paying him all this money. They've committed to a scumbag and they've got to just, hey, when you're going through hell, keep going, right? That's what's going on in Cleveland. And it's so frustrating. And you know what, man? For you, and you're going to be in my basement, right? So I want to see you happy. But, like, I hope the Jaguars beat the shit out of them. I hope the Jaguars hang 4 or 5 touchdowns on them. And, or you know what? Even better. I hope the Jaguars win this game.
Like 10-0.
I hope, yeah. Like, I hope they win it like 13-3. Right? Just to make this whole experiment in Cleveland look. I mean, now I don't hope that, right? I want to see the Jaguars throw up a bunch of points, but like, I just want this to blow up in their face. It's ridiculous. It's insulting. It's insulting because there are guys in the NFL that could play. Jameis Winston is better than what you're doing right now.
You put Jameis under center, you're going to get good football.
You know what, Jameis?
Best,
you put in Jameis today. He'll probably throw 2 picks, but it'll also throw for 3-4 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what the problem is. The problem is that he's not a great human, and right now the Browns are in an interesting position. If that video comes out, it doesn't have to come out to the public, but if it at least comes out to the NFL front office, and they see a video with Deshaun Watson, they would be able to get out of that contract. The issue is if they can't get out of the contract, they will have to eat. They will have to draft a rookie, and they'll have to eat $100 million in dead cap.
Fuck them.
I
That's
think
what you
we're
get
going-
for signing a
99
contract
million,
like that. That's what you get.
800,000.
They're gonna have to. They're gonna have to deal with that cap hit for years. I think that there's no pulling that. I don't think. I mean, unless Deshaun Watson could get arrested. Like I know, for example, I know the Lions right now with the Cam Sutton incident. I don't know if you guys remember this over.
The
offseason.
drunk driving.
No, I believe
domestic violence, right?
Yeah, domestic violence.
Okay. Yes.
The Lions cut him immediately.
Yes.
And now, right now, his money is, I believe, still on the books. They don't have to pay him, but I believe it's still a cap hit, and they're working with the NFL to remove that because of the circumstances. And typically, it takes some time, but you will get that removed. In this Deshaun Watson case, I don't know what they're going to do, but just for the sake of
the
your
way
team,
that it works is next year is
keep,
99, and then the year after that is 26, and then he's off the books.
You've got to keep, regardless of the money. You're talking about a football team, right? If we just don't think about money here, and we're just thinking about football teams or just a team-oriented anything, right? If you're talking about a workplace, if you're talking about a little league team, like what do you do when there's a cancer? You cut out the cancer and you remove it. To me, right now, Deshaun Watson is a cancer. He's a cancer with his personality. He's a cancer with all of the attention he brings to this organization, and he is a cancer with the way he plays on the field. And you guys know damn well if that was some fucking no-name bozo from Ball State, he'd be gone. He wouldn't be here. He is here strictly for a contract. At this point, I would put him on administrative leave or, suspension with pay, whatever it is, so you avoid legal issues, and you cut that cancer out because that's what he is. He can't score for you. He's not a good locker room fit. Nobody likes him. Nobody likes him. Everything we've heard about Cleveland, nobody likes this guy in the locker room.
Nobody on the team likes him. He tried to help up a lineman. The lineman said, "No way, get out of my face."
Facino, I mean, you were a running back, but you know damn well the difference between offensive linemen blocking for a guy they like and a guy they don't like. There's a distinct difference.
Yeah, Yoav Cohen must have hated me.
Oh,
he didn't fuck with me. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, I mean, look, it's just so polarizing. And there's guys when you're building a 53-man roster, you can't, politically, you can't build 50 Democrats or 50 Republicans. You have to pick players, and whatever their opinions and shit is who they are. So there's people that, probably were like, all right, Deshaun, whatever, we'll give you another chance. And there's also people that are probably like, this guy is not a good dude. And when this stuff keeps coming out, that more and more people start, to err on the side of this guy just might not be a good dude. And I don't want to play. It's the quarter. Like if you're a center or if you're a defensive tackle and you can kind of get disguised a little bit in the media and like in the spotlight, it's one thing, but he's the face of the franchise. This stuff comes out every week. It feels like it's just
not only that, man. There's so much stuff we don't see. Like, how many times are the wives and the kids around for an event? Like, do you want your kids around that guy? Because I fucking don't.
No,
you know what I mean. Like, I don't want that guy around my family. And he might be really nice on the outside, but I don't want that. But listen, we've spent a lot of time on this.
Yep. Yeah.
How do we feel about the Jaguars today? You feel like there's a win? You feel like they cover the spread?
Yes, I do.
I think the X factor was David Njoku, and he's not playing. So I think the Jaguars can strap down the receivers on the outside, and you
got to be on the lookout for Jerome Ford, though. I think Jerome Ford's a great running back.
He's a great running back, but he doesn't bring anything in the passing game. So I think the linebackers can cheat more, and I think that you don't have to cover as much zone over the middle of the field. I think they could play more man coverage, and match coverages. Just match coverages, mirror their receivers, down the field when they're more than 10 yards, down the field. And I don't think Deshaun Watson's going to be able to beat him.
Before we get into
front, just still strong.
Sorry.
Defensive front is I think the Jaguars have probably a top 3 run defense team. They're probably top 3 in run defense.
They always had.
Pass against the pass, they take an extra half a second to get there. But if they can cover these guys, then they'll be fine. And like I said, there's no safety blanket today. He's out, and he really was down the. I know it was Flacco, but towards the end of last year, you did see David Njoku come out as like one of the top tight ends in the league. He couldn't be stopped. He was getting 10 targets a game. And they were effective, and they went to the playoffs because of him. So, we'll see what happens today. I think they win 20-10, 2013 maybe.
I hope so. I hope so. I'm gonna throw that in my parlay for today. I'm gonna take the Jag spread. Before we get into the Jets, couple of games I highlight. Well, we'll sprinkle them in. One thing that I'm gonna be watching for, if I eventually, depending on how the Lions game goes, we may get into a quad box here on TV One. I want to see San Francisco, Minnesota. That's very interesting to me. I want to see if the Giants are genuinely that bad, or if Sam Darnold's having a resurgence in his career. And the ultimate test is going to be San Francisco. I mean, they're coming across the country, but they're typically a team that travels well. That spread, they're taking away 4.5 from San Francisco. And the over-under is at 46.5. I don't like that, but
I feel like that's very low. I feel like,
over-under?
Yeah, no, for the spread. I feel like they're giving the Vikings
Minnesota's
a little too much credit. I get that, but still, I mean, I believe it was last year. The Vikings beat the Niners in Minnesota last year, or maybe it might have been. I don't know. It was a primetime game, and so there's a chance. It's not out of the realm of possibility. CMC just went in the IR, so I mean, it's not really going to make a difference because we know what's his name can run circles around defenses, and I don't know.
That Mason kid looked good.
Yeah,
he looked real good.
I think Kevin O'Connell's a coach that doesn't get enough credit for what he's able to do. You look at what he did with Kirk Cousins, and they basically went that one year where the Giants knocked him out in the first round. That was a pretty miraculous season for like a not that great team with a not that great quarterback. Think back to how Kirk Cousins played in Washington when he was there. It was like, okay, yeah, you're like, he wasn't an elite quarterback. He's still not, but like, whatever. He had a couple good games, and then he goes to Minnesota and just balls out. And now look at him in Atlanta. Different circumstances. He was hurt, but look at him in Atlanta. It's a completely different Kirk Cousins. I think Kevin O'Connell has a good system where he can bring in quarterbacks and make them kind of play well, I guess, for lack of a better word. It's very simple to say, but, I don't think people give him enough credit.
Yeah.
I think Kevin O'Connell's a fine coach. I think the job he did last year impressed me more than anything because he goes down Kirk Cousins. The Lions are winning. The Packers are kind of making it interesting, but you knew that they were going to be a wild card team. The Vikings had a chance, really, up until Christmas Eve to win that division. And they I mean, the Lions won that game because of a pick with 40 seconds left. The final score of that game was 30-24.
That was an electric game.
It was awesome. But I mean, what he did with like Nick Mullins and I mean Kevin O'Connell, I agree with you, does not get enough credit. I think he's a great head coach. I think if you give that guy consistency at quarterback, they could be a threat.
That's where JJ comes in if he's able to stay healthy. I think the Vikings are gonna if O'Connell sticks around and JJ's able to stay healthy, I think they're gonna be in good shape.
I think regardless of whatever happens in Minnesota this year, unless they win like 3 or 4 games, he's keeping his job. Like he's what has this guy done that would make you want to fire him? And it's not like there's unless Bill Belichick wants to come and coach the Vikings, but my money's on the Jets. My money's on Robert Saleh getting the boot at the end of the season, regardless of the season of how it goes. And Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know if I want him to coach the Jets. I mean, given the
Debate.
take your fucking napkin and take a hike.
No, let me
Go
tell you something.
bang your 24-year-old girlfriend, you old fuck.
That was a long
Stay
time
off my
ago.
field.
I understand that winning a Super Bowl is more than just personnel, and it has a lot to do with coaching. And I think that on Monday night, the worst part about last week was when Bill Belichick was talking to the Mannings and just almost laughing about how they were just abusing the C gap all day. And I think that Bill Belichick would never have let that happen. And Bill Belichick also, he just has some of the best game plans defensively. If the Jets went up against a team like the 49ers or the Lions, and we talked about this on Thursday, any of these teams that have these great offensive coordinators, I think that the Jets would have the advantage over them. And right now with Robert Saleh, I don't think they do. But going back to the Vikings, I think, the Vikings are not going to beat the Niners because the Niners are going to take the lead. And the Vikings are sneakily built to have a lead. I think Jonathan Greenard, you got Dallas Turner, and like one of the most underrated pass rushers in the league. I know he doesn't have the sack numbers, but he's like very similar to Huff. It's this guy, Andrew Van Ginkel. And if you go back to last year, in the fourth quarter of games, Andrew Van Ginkel had the highest pressure rate of anybody in the NFL. So you got young guys that nobody knows about and not really game planning as aggressively for. And if you have the lead, I think that you'll be able to get after the quarterback. It's just not happening today because they won't.
I'll be honest with you. I think that there's this might not be PG, but I don't give a fuck because it's just an observation. It's like seeing a white running back. Like when you see a white linebacker with long hair, especially if it's blonde, like Clay Matthews, Alex Anzalone, that just gets you hyped, like because that's like typically typically not a white guy back there, right? Yeah. Like it's just
guy
not what
after.
you see. So like it definitely gets you hyped up to see something like that. Like I don't know, it's just I think it's an aura, it's something, right? It's like when Marquette King was punting for the Broncos.
Yeah, it
like,
was sick.
You never see a black punter. That was awesome. And the guy was dancing and jamming. Like that's cool, right? You don't see that often. So I agree with you. Van Ginkel's a good player. Ultimately, I think I'm with you. I think San Francisco wins. I think there's a reason the spread's at 4.5. I agree with you, Dan. Maybe it should be higher, but
you would think it'd be like 6.5.
Yeah, but Minnesota's home. This is a trap. I think San Francisco wins this game, but they either blow them out or Darnold is a legit starter and it comes down to a field goal or something.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. You might have just sold me on this game to watch. Like this could be at least the first quarter to see how it goes.
It's a 1:00 game, so it's going to be tough. You got one TV, unless you pull it up on your phone or something, or you're watching the Jets from your phone. But let's get into this Jets game here. They're in. I sound like Jersey Jerry. They're down in Nashville. Jets are down in Nashville playing the Titans. Will Levis shits down his leg last week. The Bears did not win that game. The Titans lost it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's, I think
the Bears defense did
Bears
a stand-up
defense was
job.
great.
Yeah.
But the guy threw 2 picks from his knees. Like, what are you doing? Go down. Sometimes the best play is no play. Sometimes the best play is realizing there's nothing there, and if there's not a running lane, throw it into the seats.
I think the
Yeah.
Titans are going to be in trouble here. I don't know if you guys saw, but the Titans head coach was saying if we just punted on 1st and 10 every drive, I think we would have won that game. So
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
him.
think
That's him hanging Will Levis out to dry.
100%. So I don't know if that's necessarily what you want to do to your young quarterback who's finally starting for the first full season. I don't think that's really gonna, that's gonna really be great for his confidence, right? So, and other than that, they don't really. I mean, they have Tony Pollard and then some guy whose name I can't really pronounce, running the ball, and Calvin Ridley catching. So I feel like as far as weapons go and what they have available for them, not really in their favor as well. If the Jets lose this game, I might blow my brains out.
I don't think you're losing. You're not losing this game.
I don't think so either. But if they do, it's been nice knowing you
your
guys.
spread's at 4, and I think you're going to cover that.
Well, this
So
is the
do
thing.
I.
You have, as long as Hackett understands that you're not running the ball down the teeth of this defense, I think you see.
Oh, you mean
outside
the
zone.
run pass scheme didn't work?
I like the run pass scheme if you run the right plays. I think that the team look, Braylon Allen's a great draft pick for them to beat teams up. I just don't think that the Titans are a good team to use that with, because they have Devondre Sweat and they got Jeffrey Simmons, who's like one of the most underrated players in the league. I think that they stop the run if it's right up in their grill. I think if you're going to run outside zone and misdirection and pitch plays and counters, I think you could keep those guys stagnant, hesitate, and then be able to beat them and get up to the linebackers. So I think that the run game is important, but they have to run the right, run the ball the right way. And then I would hope that Snead plays up against Wilson, because I think Wilson's release is he's sophisticated. He's very sophisticated in his releases at a young age. And I think that you don't really want to press Wilson, even though he is a smaller receiver. I still think he can beat Snead. So I would like to see them. I'd like to see that matchup. I think they have the advantage. And I like to see Rodgers let it loose.
Yeah, I want to see him throw the ball a little bit.
Yeah.
Mix in Mike Williams, mix in Lazard. Lazard did get some action, but don't rely on GW the entire game, because everyone's going to figure that out and they're going to lock him down. You can do that here and there, but I understand you have to have your number one receiver. Every team has a number one receiver, but that can't be your only look every single time.
Wilson needs a huge bounce back, in my opinion. What I watched on Monday Night Football, I don't know. That pick was not Rodgers' fault. Garrett Wilson, what are you thinking? What are you doing? That was the most lazy attempt at catching a ball maybe I've ever seen. You're a professional wide receiver. You're the number one wide receiver on this team. You are the guy people are looking to be the Jordy Nelson to Aaron Rodgers, or the Devontae Adams to Aaron Rodgers. And you know what? Maybe you're not Devontae, but you got to step into that fucking role. You can't let shit bounce off your hands like that. You just can't. Someone hits you in the hands. I hate to be this guy, but you got to fucking come down with it. You got to come down with it. Rodgers, that was not a bad pass from Rodgers. And it's just, I don't know, man. It's like every time on third down, whenever the Jets have to punt, what was the last play? It was a pass incomplete to Garrett Wilson. And I know some of these passes, maybe they're not the best, but I expect more. This is a guy that we expect to take the next step in New York, to be the guy, to be the leading receiver. And, you're not always going to beat your guy down the team. You're not always, going to be able to take that collision in the middle of the field. And you know what? Rodgers is a good enough quarterback. He's not going to put you in that position. He's not going to get you hurt out there. Okay? He's a smart guy. He still has the arm. He still has the touch. I think Aaron Rodgers deserves better right now than what Garrett Wilson's giving him. That's just my opinion. I think he deserves better. And I think Garrett Wilson is better. He's better than this. I mean, unless he's just a guy that we have severely overrated because...
No. The problem last week is that they didn't play enough people. They didn't play enough... Garrett Wilson was on an island too much. You want maybe Xavier Gibson or Mike Williams next to him, because when you're just on an island, they're running... They have... When you're on one side of the field, what happens is the defense is going to split the coverages in half. So the left side of the field, if it's just Garrett Wilson and a tight end inline, then what do you have to do? All you have to do is you could play cone, or you could just play man on one and then have safety over the top. And that's pretty much what they do every time Garrett Wilson goes to one side. So it's harder for him to have success like that unless he's running a hitch or a slant. But then that's not really what he's most effective with. I'd rather see him on corners. I'd rather see him go down the field on go routes. I think that's what he's better at. And I see a lot of Justin Jefferson in him. I do. And I know the comment Justin Jefferson said he's not Garrett Wilson, but you know what? Garrett Wilson's really one of the closest you can get to him without, being Justin Jefferson. But they have to create ways to get him open. And they didn't do that well enough towards the end of the game. And no matter who you are, you can be the best player in the league.
Yeah.
If two guys are on you, those are two NFL players. So they got to be able to get him in isolated situations where it's just one guy on him where he can make a move and run the routes that he runs because he will be open. But it's a matter of the Jets being able to manufacture that for him, which I think they'll be able to do. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely think the Jets will win today. I think they should, get anything they want. I think Rodgers will pick them apart, and I think the defense might even score a defensive touchdown and really blow the game open. So
that'd be huge. I would love that. I need the Jets defense to have a bounce back game. They just didn't look like that. They got ran over Monday, and it just felt very uncharacteristic. Do you think, though, the shortened week is going to come in to bite us in the ass?
Nah.
Dude, if you think about it,
we are traveling.
And the fucked up thing is that we played Monday, Sunday, and now we're Thursday. We can't catch a break.
That is fucked up. That's an awful start to the season. Let me ask you guys, do you know where did the Jets practice this week? Did they fly back home to then fly out to Nashville, or did they just?
Yeah. Almost always, yeah.
Okay.
It's fine. I mean, Nashville's not that far. Nashville's like an hour and a half
flight.
flight.
Yeah, it's not bad.
No problem.
It is a little unfair to the Jets. I'll give you that. That's it's just compounded. And you know what? I think you got to come out of this game with two things. Obviously, a win. You really need to come out with your health, because anyone that's dinged up, you're lining back up Thursday. They're probably not playing.
Mm-hmm. There's one thing too. Obviously it was week 1. I thought that the Jets would show out to San Francisco, but you know what? San Francisco's a shithole. Nobody's going to San Francisco. You know where they're going? They're going to Nashville, man.
And they're there, dude. They're there in droves. I've been seeing videos on
man.
Instagram. Just Fireman Ed, fuck Fireman Ed, but Fireman Ed just on Broadway leading the JETS chant. Just kind of getting me frothed up, dude.
I can't stand him.
Yeah, I think it'll be a 50-50 split in that stadium is what it looks like. So, look, what would you do if you looked at every game on the schedule after what happened last year with Rodgers?
I'd want to be
thinking, and you're thinking early game, and you see the Titans, easy. So I think that it'll be. I can't wait. I can't wait to see them get a win and get right going into the Patriot game, which is the biggest game of the decade, because they can't beat the Patriots, and getting a win, riding that high into New England. I think it'll be a really good situation for the Jets to get the
major difference between starting a season 2-1 and 1-2.
I think so too.
There is.
You want to be 2-1.
Yeah, absolutely.
The fact of the matter is, if we drop any of these games, it's kind of inexcusable.
But
you can sit here and try to lie to me about the Patriots looking good last week. I'm going to tell you you're full of shit. I'm going to tell you that's recency bias, and you and I both know the Patriots are a dog shit team. Don't make that face. Don't make that hand gesture. I gotta piss.
I gotta piss and get a beer. Keep going with this.
There's just I think the Bengals lost that game. I think Joe Burrow might not be healthy. I think that the Bengals didn't play their best. They're notorious for getting off the slow starts and losing week 1. And I think the Patriots are just right place, right time. Good for Gerard Mayo winning his first game as a head coach, but I do not think the Patriots are a good football team. No. Come Thursday next week, I might eat these words, but I hope I don't, and I think I should stand by the steak.
You're not going to eat those words. Patriots are although Jacoby Brissett played well against us last year, I think that the Jets, again, this is a game that you don't think ahead. Obviously, you take one game at a time, but the game's been circled. You circle the Patriots every year. Mm-hmm. Haven't been able to beat the Patriots at home since Ryan Fitzpatrick. Even that game was borderline lucky. Before that, I think it was like Brett Favre. So this is a nice 5-day stretch for the Jets to completely flip the script on what we've been saying. I still don't think they have the superior coach in most of the games they play. But I do think that if there were games where Saleh could maybe outcoach these guys, it would be the rookie Callahan, and then it would be the rookie in Mayo. So there's your two guys that you might be able to outcoach and get the team right the ship. But let me tell you something. The one X factor that looks like he's not going to be playing for the Jets ever is Hassan Reddick. So what a good transition it would be to
good riddance.
Good riddance, but where good riddance to where? Maybe Detroit.
No, good riddance to just you're never gonna play in the NFL again, dude. I'm sorry. That's it.
What happened to Hassan Reddick?
He's going to be a Lion.
No, we don't. You think he's gonna go somewhere?
I think he's going to be a Lion by week 8.
Why do you say that? What happened?
Because look, when
Are
your
they
player
far apart on a.
they're far, he's not going to play for them. The Jets need to get rid of this cancer and have people just stop talking about it. It's not going to happen. You wanted it to happen. It didn't happen. Somebody had said something to me earlier today. Mark, a buddy of mine on Twitter, he was saying that maybe Reddick knows that there are contract offers out there, but the trade hasn't been been able to get go through. Maybe the Eagles took the best trade instead of giving him to the team that was going to give him the contract, because obviously the Eagles have themselves in best interest and not the player. So the Lions have a ton of cap space, man. The Lions have a ton of cap space for 2-3 years.
They're not quick to bring in cancers at all.
They're not, but he's not a cancer if he gets paid. And I think that the way that Montez Sweat got paid, if the Lions want to go throw a 2-year, $40 million contract at Reddick because they can afford it.
But you know
that's what you do when you got to go to
I
the
don't
Super Bowl,
know.
man.
I don't know that they're going to.
Look, man, what happened in the championship game? You're up by 17. Reddick helps. And Reddick,
Reddick wasn't great last year for the Eagles. Like, there's been a decline in his game, and I'm all for giving a guy like what we're doing with Marcus Davenport is great, right? Give a guy that's been up and down his whole career, high expectations, has not really followed through. Give him a chance, absolutely, on a 1-year, whatever it was, a $10 million contract. I'm not really into hitching your wagon to a guy who has not produced in a year, and now this year. He's refusing to play until he's paid. So I'm not really into that.
Look, it's
I
fair.
know.
I agree, but to an extent, I think when you're ready to go all in and you're right there and you might be able to do it, you always get the pass rusher. Always get the pass rusher. Anytime.
I agree.
Look, I think Marcus Davenport's a great player, but I think that he's making that money because he can both rush the passer and play the run well. Hutchinson's a great player, obviously, but on 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, and more, you take Reddick, and it's only going to play 30% of the snaps. And I think that guy is way more efficient than a 65% of the snaps Reddick that he was playing in Philadelphia. And I think that it would help the Lions tremendously, especially because they are able to take those leads. They
paying
can run
a guy
the ball.
$20 million to do that.
It doesn't matter. Take the money. The money's irrelevant. They have the money.
I think there's other. Let's see.
It's interesting. It's an interesting team.
It is,
to say the least. That's what
it is, and they need pass rush help. Are we done on the Jets? Are we moving on?
Well, that's why I figured
DJ Reed's not playing. I just got the update.
DJ Reader is not playing.
DJ Reed is not playing.
All right,
You're kidding.
Fine, whatever.
Oh no, that's not
fine.
good.
It's fine. They'll play Eccles and Stiggers. And look, the whole point of the draft is to draft guys that are going to contribute. And you know what the Jets don't, Drew? They don't draft contributors. So maybe, please, I'm praying to God that this Stiggers guy could just contribute and be the future. Can they finally get a 5th round or 4th round guy that could be a future piece? It would be a beautiful thing because DJ Reed's making too much money and Stiggers is making nothing. He's younger, faster, stronger. And I don't know if he's a better player today, but he's probably going to be a better player next year. So let's see what happens. I think Eccles will start, and I think that it could be a blessing to see
DJ Reader playing 4 minutes ago, active.
No, DJ Reed.
Wait, did I read that wrong? The Giants and active.
DJ Reader is playing.
Starting cornerback DJ Reed among players out versus Titans.
No. DJ Reader is a defensive tackle in the Lions that they just traded for.
Yeah, you got it confused, Matt.
Yeah, you just threw a fucking shiver down my spine. Don't do that again, Cherry.
DJ Reader.
No, but I'm excited, dude. Jet the fuck up. I'm excited. I think this is gonna be a good game.
All right, so we're comfortable taking jet spread.
Hands down.
You know what? We could fuck around here.
So that was going to be my little surprise at the end.
parlay.
I was going to take a sunny. I'm taking a sunny days parlay.
So,
but
yeah,
I am
fuck
going to
around.
buy down the Lions. I don't love the 7.5.
I don't love 7.5 either. I do want to see, I guess, what that looks like. Bought down
4.5 went down to 220, which I think I'm cool with.
Oh, okay, that's not bad. Honestly, I would buy it down to 6.5.
You think?
Yeah, I would just buy it down. That's what I would do. I would see what odds they're giving me. If they're giving me minus 180 at 6.5, then I'll just buy it down to the 4.5 at minus 220. But
Yeah.
anyway, let's get into that game. Lions have the Buccaneers coming to town. A lot of guys out for the Buccaneers. A lot of guys. Now to preface this, Baker just had a monster week 1, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, 146 quarterback rating, 289 yards. Guy completed 24 out of 30 passes. That's fantastic. The one thing that Baker typically does not do well and with is, which is a lot of quarterbacks don't, is being pressured. When Baker's being pressured, that quarterback rating drops significantly. As for the injuries, Antoine Winfield is the big one. He's out. The safety for the Bucs. Cansey, the new defensive lineman they just drafted, he's out. And then you have a few coaches' decisions. Rakin
Who did they
Jarrett
play
is out.
last week?
Huh?
Who did they play last week? The Buccaneers.
They played the
Didn't they play the Falcons? No, Commanders.
Commanders.
yeah. Commanders.
Beat them up pretty good, 37-20. Over-unders at 51.5. I'm inclined to take the over here, but now FanDuel has the line spread at 8.
It's going up.
Yeah, it's at
Jesus
8 now.
Christ. So that's
Jesus Christ.
Vegas
I might say fuck it, take an alternative spread of minus 9.5. Fuck it. If you're gonna give me 8, I might as well double down and take 9.5 and assume they win by 10.
Yeah.
Because what am I gonna do with 8? You know?
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Yeah. Make it
as
a
well just
full score. Yeah.
Make it a
9.5.
full 10.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
I don't hate that.
That's. I
Fuck
don't
it.
know.
I'm feeling
This-
frisky. I don't hate
This
that. I
line,
might ride.
this line keeps going up.
I want to see Jared and Sun God ball the fuck out today, and I think they're more than capable of doing so, especially because Amon-Ra St. Brown is not prone to having 2 bad games in a row. He's that type of like driven wide receiver. I feel like because we all know he says the names before every single game that he plays and shit like that. And then also with these holes in the Buccaneers defense, I think it's going to be more of a chance for just Goff to slice and dice between him and Jameson Williams. So let's see what he's able to do.
Yeah, I want to see Goff get back on track. He had a shaky week 1. Didn't look great.
I didn't think it was a
bad.
bad, minus a couple of bad throws. I didn't think he played a bad game.
But he didn't look great. I want to see the offensive line step up here, play a little better. They're banged up on their defense as a whole. You should be able to eat. You're at home. You're in front of your crowd. 2 weeks in a row here. You got to win this game. There's really no excuse. There's no excuse not to win this game. Buccaneers are coming in limping. The one thing I'll say, Todd Bowles, as much as I can't stand him as a head coach,
Knows what he's doing on defense.
He knows
what he's doing on defense.
the man knows defense. He runs a hell of a defense. So,
You got to know you have to be disciplined and you have to prepare because he's going to throw every blitz scheme possible at you. And he's going to get home. It is what it is. He's going to get home. He doesn't need the best guys to get there. So
and where I think Todd Bowles thrives is pressuring the quarterback and getting the quarterback to make a bad decision. So if Goff is getting rushed today, just tuck it and fall. Like that, you will live to have another offensive drive. What you can't come back from is throwing a pick to a depleted secondary. That you can't come back from, right?
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to come back from. So, ultimately tuck it or throw it into the stands. Do what you've got to do. This is a game I don't care about Goff's completion percentage because there's going to be a bunch of balls thrown away, and that's absolutely that's fine. Problem avoidance. I mean, I'm good with that. I don't want to see a turnover today. That's what I'm concerned with. And listen, we're football fans. That's what you're concerned with every week, but especially this week, do not turn the ball over. This is a very silly week to turn the ball over. Throw it into the stands, tuck it and drop. Do whatever you got to do. Come out of this game healthy. Don't let this pass rush beat you. And they shouldn't. They shouldn't. They have a strong offensive line. They shouldn't.
If they run the ball and control the clock, they will beat the Bucs. But I also think that it is an absolute trap game because nobody talks about how well the Bucs have played from week 10 on last year to now with very, very similar personnel. Coaches all came back outside of what their offense coordinator but they have a good team, and I think I'm ready to admit that. I'm ready to admit that the Buccaneers are a good team, and they're a tough out. And if you don't bring your A game, they should beat you.
Yeah,
They should.
yeah,
But if you play your A game, you're a better team. So
yeah.
I think you'll win. I think that it's just one of those games. Just I hope they come in prepared. And I don't know who do the Lions have an NFC North opponent next week?
I think they have they go to Arizona to play the Cardinals.
All right, so they should have put all the eggs into the Buccaneers basket here. I think they'll win.
Oh, 100%.
But I'm never right. I
should-
think I went 4-12 last week, so with my pick. So don't listen to me.
They've got them, and then they've got the Seahawks on Monday Night Football last week of September. So
They're another team, not the Buccaneers, but definitely a good squad.
let's get into. So we all feel good. We all feel good about the Lions here. We don't know if we feel good about them covering, but we feel good about them winning today.
Yeah.
Last game, I guess that we're unless we've got something else. Giants at Commanders. Let's be honest with you. I think the Commanders win this game. I don't think it's a hot take. It's only a 1.5 point spread, but I don't know. As long as Daniel Jones is under center, I don't feel confident at all.
I love this under, but I'm afraid to take it.
Oh, I wouldn't touch this over under.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah, because it's either gonna be a blowout in the command. There's I don't know. It's either gonna be a 10-3 game or just a dog shit 10-3 game, not even a good one, or like somebody's gonna be putting up points on somebody.
And when I see a 1.5 point spread, if you're gonna bet on this game, I would say just take the Commanders money line at the 125. Don't leave yourself that 1.5 because this is these NFC East games always end with oddball scores. Especially with two bad offenses. Although the Commanders' offense should be better. I mean, they were able to throw up 20 on the Bucs last week. I know they lost, but they threw up 20. Jaden Daniels, from what I saw, did not look bad for a rookie.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. It's funny because, I mean, the game is irrelevant to me. I think both teams are going to be picking high next year. But because everybody is pretty much giving Daniel Jones 4 more quarters, I think the Giants will win. That's how bad quarterbacks are. When you're bad, but you're just inevitable, these are the games you win. The game where everyone's like, this guy sucks. Enough is enough. He's going to be hard. And you saw how many times you see with Zach Wilson winning games almost in spite of him, but just doing just enough for them to be like, we're going to play him next week. If the Giants get routed, it will be the end of Daniel Jones. But because it's Daniel Jones and he's inevitable and the Giants are going down that route, unfortunately, I think the Giants will probably win this game. And Daniel Jones might throw 2 touchdowns to neighbors and buy himself a few more weeks because that's what happens in New York. These guys just buy themselves weeks as these stale quarterbacks, and it's miserable to watch as a fan, but it's just the inevitability of the NFL. So we'll see. It might be DeVito time. It might be DeVito time.
It's DeVito time right now.
I want to see the Giants make a play for Tyson Bagent. I've been saying this since I watched Hard Knocks because nobody gets knocked harder than me. We talked about this last week. I think Tyson Bagent's a pretty solid quarterback that's just kind of wasting his time on the bench behind Caleb Williams. He's never going to get the reps he could deserve and honestly have a starting spot on a team like the New York Giants.
Yeah. And I think there's one more 1:00 game, the Chargers and the Panthers.
Yes.
Oof.
Or there's 2 more, but I think the Chargers might be a good team. You know what? Sometimes it
I
is
feel
about
good
so
about
That's
taking
a
the
Harbaugh
Chargers.
effect. It's Jim
I feel-
Harbaugh for you.
I feel very good about taking the Chargers. I think I'm going to separate. I think I'll take an alternative spread here too on them. They're at -5. I think I'll take them at minus 10. See what that.
Let me
gets
ask you boys this. I have a fantasy question for the two of you. So last week, Jaden Reed had a great game. He had 40 points in fantasy. He had a wonderful game. But Jordan Love was throwing the ball. Now Jordan Love's down for 3 to 5 weeks. That sprained MCL. Malik Willis is going to be under center. Is it worth keeping him in the lineup and hoping for maybe he's still going to be kind of a high priority target for Malik Willis, or is Malik Willis going to be that bad that he's not even going to be that they're just going to run the rock with Josh Jacobs?
I think he'll be that bad.
Yeah, it's especially because look, man, as good as Jaden Reed is, even drafting him with Jordan Love was a little risky because you had 4 receivers over there. So with Malik Willis, I don't even know what their chemistry would look like. I would say I would say it's going to be an interesting. It's going to be an interesting week to really evaluate this guy. He's only been a Packer for like 2 weeks. Just got
he's
there.
young.
So, I would say don't start any Packer unless it's Josh Jacobs, and even Josh Jacobs, they might run blitz him to death, and it'll be interesting. The one receiver that I think could have a little success is probably maybe Dontavion Wicks because he's the fourth guy, so maybe he has a little bit more reps with Malik Willis. But like I said, there's just absolutely no reason to go anywhere near a Packer today. I have to see that to believe that, and I would rather just keep him on the bench.
Leave him on the bench and see what happens this first week. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm gonna play Jerome Ford over him, I think.
All right, boys.
Yeah.
We got anything else for today, or we're good?
Nope. Hammer the Sunny Days media parlay. We got the Jets, the Jaguars, and the Lions. So we might really get aggressive on that Lions spread, but we'll see what happens.
Jesus, when's the last time all of our teams won in 1 week?
I think it may have happened once last year.
Maybe. By week one.
It
might have been week one. I honestly think it was week one.
Yeah.
It
may have happened once last year. You know what? You're actually FanDuel bettors. You're better off if you're gonna take the alternate spread on the Lions. Right now they're at 7.5. If you want to go higher, you're better off sticking with 8.5 because at 8.5 you're getting even money, and then at 9.5 you're getting 108. So you're better off stick with. If you want to go higher than the 7.5, take 8.5. Even 10.5 is 126. So that's where I would be. All right, boys. Hey, great show. Thank you all for tuning in. Stevie Mack, Larry Chiafalo, Will Hickey, all you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you again Thursday night. Let's go have a fucking Sunday, boys. Let's go Lions.
Absolutely, baby.
Just win, baby.
Jet up.
Jet up.